Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we're going to discuss a project. So in this project, we would like to create a simple calculator that performs basic arithmetic operations for us. To do that, first of all, I'm printing the message, welcome to the calculator for the users. So I'm printing out this message. And then I would like to take two numbers from the user. First, I ask them to enter the first number, then enter the second number. And then using the input keyword, I'm getting this message being shown in the output for the user and storing this entered data by the user using the input function. And because we learned by default in Python, it is going to store it as a string. We are using the float function to convert the variable, the input variables that is used and entered by the user to convert them from a string to float. And then this is assigned to my variable called num1. The same logic goes with the second number. I'm showing the message for the user using the input function saying that enter the second number, and the user is going to enter a number. Okay, and that number using still the input function is going to be stored as a string for users in the memory. And then because by default it's a string and we want a number because we would like to do some arithmetic operations, we need to convert it to a float or integer. But float is more flexible. So in order to do that, I'm having the float function and parentheses, and inside parentheses, I'm having the input function. So whatever that is stored using the input function is going to be converted to float, and the resulting value is going to be assigned to my num variable. So I'm using the input function and the float function, okay? And basically I'm having the float, and inside that I'm having the input function, and in this input function I'm having my message, okay? So this is how I'm showing a message to the users to enter two numbers, then storing them as a string, converting them as to float, and then assigning them to num1 and num2. Then I'm showing another message to my users. I'm saying that choose an operation: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. And then when they want to enter the operation, I'm going to take it as an input and store it in the variable called operation. So here is the fun part. Now I need to define if, else, and elif conditions. Why? Depending on what mathematical operations the user is going to choose, the output is different. Because if they choose, for example, the addition, the output should be num1 plus num2. If they, for example, choose multiplication, the output should be num1 times num2 multiplied by num2. Okay, so this is the difference. So now I would like to start my if condition. I'm saying that if the operation variable equals the plus sign, which we store, so we store the operation that the user is choosing in the operation variable. So if this equals plus sign, the result variable equals num1 plus num2, and then we are going to print the result is, then print out the result value. Elif the operation equals subtraction, the result variable equals num1 minus num2, and then we are going to print the result. Elif the operation equals star, we are going to have the variable result being equal to num1 multiplied by num2, and then we are printing out the output here. And elif, another elif is that operations equals the slash. It means that we want to do the division, but before doing that we must check that num2 does not equal 0, because if num2 is equals 0, there will be, mathematically speaking, there will be a problem. No numbers can be divided by a 0. So num2 should not be equal 0. So if num2 is not equal to 0, then result equals num1 divided by num2, and then we are printing out the result. Otherwise, if num2, otherwise is this else function, is else part here, which means that num2 equals 0. Okay, print error, division by 0 is not allowed. And if operation is not equals, the operation variable does not equal to any of these uh, any of these options here, I mean the addition, subtraction, star, and the slash, print invalid operation. For example, if the user enter another operation. So we're going to illustrate it with an example. So let me run the code. When I run the code, it says, welcome to the calculator. Enter the first number. I say 20. Enter the second number. I would say 10. And then enter the operation. I'm typing down the plus. So it says the result is 30. Okay, so it is taking the operation and then do the job for me. So this message was shown, enter the first number, enter the second number, then choose an operation. Then I entered the operation, so it was stored in operation variable. Then because I was choosing this addition, it said if operation equals addition equals plus. Is it true? Yes. Then it entered this if condition here. Because it entered this if condition here, it did the num1 plus num2, stored the result in the result variable, and then print out the output. So when I run this code one more time, it says enter the first number. I said 20. Enter the second number. I would say 15. And choose an operation. And from the operation, I choose subtraction. It says the result is 5. So let me analyze the code one more time. So it stored two numbers that I entered and stored the subtraction sign that I entered here. It start the if condition here. So operation, is operation equal to plus? No, because I entered minus, I entered subtraction. So because this condition is not true, it's not going to execute this part of the code, and it jumps to the elif part. So the next condition, it says operation, is it equal to subtraction? Yes, because this statement is true, it is going to execute this part of the code. Therefore, the result variable is equal to num1 minus num2, which was 20 minus 15, and the result was 5 as shown here. So when I have another run, I would say the first number is 20 and the second number is 0, and I choose the division operation. So it sends me an error saying that error, division by 0 is not allowed. What happened? So the program stored my two numbers. Then it stored the division operation here. It checks to see operation equals plus. No. Then this part is not executed. It jumps to next elif, operations equals minus. No. Then it does not implement this part. It jumps to the next elif, operations equals star. No, it does not implement this part. And then finally it says operation equals slash, which is division. Yes. If it checks this statement, num2 is not equal to 0. Is it true? No, num2 equals indeed to 0. Therefore, it comes to this else part and says error, division by 0 is not allowed. This is exactly the thing that we got in the output here. So when I run this code one more time, I say 20 and then the second number 10, and I type down the slash, which means the division, and it says the result is 2. So in this case, it comes here, operation equals slash or division. Yes, it checks num2 is not equal to 0, and my num2 was 10. So this statement is true. Therefore, it is going to implement this part of the code, and result equals num1 divided by num2, and the result is being printed out, which is number 2 here. And when I run the code one more time, I type down 20 and I type down the number 10 as a second number. It says choose an operation. So I choose the and sign, which is not one of the predefined operations. So when I run this code, it says invalid operation, which is this message here. So when we are having this code and neither of these options are considered here. So the first option is addition. The second option is subtraction. The third option is star, and then this division here, okay? But I chose the AND operation, and AND operation is not included in any of these lines here, okay? So when the AND sign is not included in any of these lines here, it is going to return the invalid operation message because it's the else part. So if operation is either one, either this, and either this, do these things. Otherwise, which is this part, show the message invalid operation. So in this project, we learned how to create a simple calculator that performs basic arithmetic operations for us. Thank you for watching.